Okay, welcome everyone. Good to see you. Good to see some new faces. Good to see some treasurers for sure. I am going to turn this over, I think, to Janice right now, our region treasurer. So take it away.
Okay. And Charlie's in here as well. So,
Yep.
okay, being treasurer is one of those things that is so interesting that people hate. And I look at it going, why? It's like, no. But anyway, and I've learned to never say in my 37 years of teaching, don't say it's easy, because then when people can't do it, then you make them feel not so smart. And so it isn't easy, but it's doable. And so you just have to pay attention. Anyway, so Charlie and I, when we discussed this, we thought we would start with what you have coming up, the first thing you're going to have to deal with, and that is your upcoming dues. So starting there, um, SIA has always had the statement that the dues are due July 1, but they're not delinquent until August 15th. That always confused people. They thought they needed to pay them before July 1. And so finally, SIA is saying we need to actually make a date. And so they will no longer, I should say, no longer will. They do not want you to pay dues before July 1. So, but you need to collect them from your members in June, especially those of you that have a club that goes dark. So if your club goes dark, you really need to collect all of your dues before that final meeting. Hold on to them, and then July 1, go in and pay your dues. So for SIA, you have to do all of that online. So you have to go in as the treasurer. And again, because it's an iffy crossover time, you may not even have access if you're a new treasurer. So then you have to work with your outgoing treasurer to get in. So they tried to make it easier by making it all doable online, but they've created a few complications by doing that. So as long as you keep that in mind, that you may need help the first time before they get things converted over, you'll be fine. And as long as you have them paid in the month of July, you're fine. So, July 1 is the first day you can pay them. July 30 is still fine. Okay. But it's just better to get them done and have them all taken care of. While you're doing that, I also recommend that you go ahead and pay your founders pennies at that time, because then it's all done. So, if your club does founders pennies, go ahead and pay them when you pay the dues. Everything's covered and you're clear. And that, again, that will make it easier for you. Now, the region dues are a little different. As of today, we do not have a way for you to pay your dues online. We're working on it. I do not know whether it will be finished by July 1, but as of right now, I just got a thumbs up that it will be. Okay, so there again, though, please do not pay them before July 1, because we need to close out our books on June 30 and then reopen everything on July 1. Whereas if you've known, this is actually my 4th year finishing being treasurer, and I would just always tell the clubs, you can mail them anytime you want, but I will not deposit them until July 1. So now, if we're going to be doing them online, again, please do not do them in June. Please collect everything, have it ready to go, and pay them in July. Makes it much easier. Excuse me a second. So something that okay, so here's where Judy, did you put those documents in the chat? Okay. So I have two
Sorry, I was
documents
muted.
for you.
Sorry, Janice.
That's
I
okay.
haven't yet, but I'm going to do it
Okay,
here
she's doing
shortly.
that right now, but I'll show you. So what I have for you are two documents. One is a treasurer's checklist, and it'll be in the document soon. You'll be able to see it. And the other one is just a list of websites for you. And so they will be on the region website, but I thought it would be helpful if you could actually look at them right now and you could see them. So Judy is going to call those up, put them in the chat. While she's doing that, I'm doing something different for me. I'm sharing my actual screen. And so I'm hoping, I practiced last night with Charlie, so hopefully it will work tonight. So are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now it's your desktop.
Okay, yeah, my desktop. And
There you
actually, I'm sorry, but one of them got closed. While I'm looking for this. All right, so this is the treasurer's checklist. Is that showing on my screen now that you can see?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so first off, we talked about the dues are due July 1. The SIA website is theseroptimist.org. You go on there to pay that. The region dues, you will get an invoice showing the dues that you need to pay. And then when you have new members that join after July, that's something different. So what I wanted to show you is if you go to the region website, they've had it up, sorry. Okay. Are you seeing the region website now?
Yes.
Okay. Member resources. Down here, it says treasurer's resources. Okay. If you go there, this is where all these forms will be. Okay. So I'm looking for, I'm sorry, I don't have the dues invoice on there. I thought I did. So hang on a second. I thought I was ready for you, but I guess I'm not.
I think we had decided not to put the annual dues one on there because
maybe that was it.
going
Okay.
forward they need to use the right one.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the dues one. Any other time? I'm sorry. I always know where it is, and now I can't find it because I'm just nervous of doing this. Okay.
Janice, you're among friends. Don't be nervous.
Okay, yeah, it's always like, oh, I want to have this all done. Yeah. No, that's where I was keeping track of your dues coming in. I have a phone. It's the dues invoice is what it's called. I'm so sorry. That's like, where is it? All right. I have to apologize. I thought I had it here. I don't think it's there. No. All right. Well, poor planning on my part. I thought I had that on the website and now it's not there. So
That was the only thing we didn't test last night.
I know. It's like we didn't do that. That's not what because I thought I had it all up there.
Oh, there's the dues forms because you individualize them.
Okay.
No, the one up.
Okay, let me look here.
Oh, there it is, revision.
Dues forms. Yeah, that's one that says revision, revised. Dues invoice revision. There we go. Okay. Oh, because I was in under Word. I don't know. Okay. Oh, that was too fast. Let me get it up here. Okay. Now it's telling me it's open and it won't open it.
Oh, it's
right.
go over. Is it on your Adobe tab?
Well, that's
Down at
right.
the
I'm
bottom?
on the Adobe tab, and that's
Okay.
why it's like it's not coming
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Try this. It's telling me it's open, and it won't let me do it again. There it goes. Okay. All right. So this is what the dues invoice will look like. Okay. Something that new that is this year. Excuse me. I got to move
That's
people
the,
up.
Janice, that's the one they do
Oh,
new dues.
that's the okay.
New members.
Catching that. New members revised dues invoice revision. Come on. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm just going to close all of this out. Okay, here it is. They changed it over to word form. Okay, so sorry about that confusion. Let me move you guys over here. So this is what we came up with last year. Okay, so this part has not changed. I'm sorry, it's a little distorted because it converted it to Word instead of leaving it in PDF. All right, so the mandatory convention fee as of today has not been changed. The board meeting will be in May, and we'll know anything different then. And the $25 for your regular dues, and then the $5 for your furthering the dream. Okay. So we'll change it this year to say annual dues are payable after July 1. Okay. So that'll be a change. What we did different is up here at the very top. All right. I added this little piece last year because we're really trying to keep track of retention. And so all I know is how many members you have right now. And then whenever you renew, I know how many people, you're paying for. It really would help me see there where it says number of members not renewing. It would really help us to know if you have 35 members right now, only 30 of them are renewing, please tell me that you have 5 not renewing. Because then that means we'll take them off, for the retention calculation. We needed to know that. And then tell me how many members you have returning, and then any new members that you are paying for. You do not need to submit a separate form on this initial payment. So if you have members that are just waiting until July 1 to join, then you can go ahead and I want to see you guys. You can go ahead and pay their dues July 1, but you don't need to submit extra forms for that. Just say, we have 5 new members joining. That's all we need to know. And so you have 30 returning, you've got 2 new members, you have 5 not returning, and then we can do the calculations from there. And I'll be honest with you, what I'm finding is my numbers don't match SIA numbers, and that's a whole nother issue we'll talk about. But so that's something that we saw in trying to track membership. All right. So does that kind of explain that first form that you're going to be seeing?
Tammy has her hand raised.
Okay.
That is totally understandable. My question is related to the number of members that are not returning.
Yeah.
Do you want a list of those? Because
no, because I don't have a list of your members anyway.
Well, somebody does, because the emails that go out for the call to conference were sent out to people that were no longer in our club. And so I'm just wondering.
So that list was generated by the SIA member list.
Okay.
So we'll have to address it there.
Okay. Thank you.
But thanks for letting us know.
Very good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that brings up that you need to manage your member roster. Whoever's assigned in your club to manage the member roster online needs to make sure they're managing the member roster, because if you have somebody who's not returning and you do not remove them from the roster, then you're going to be charged for them.
They were
So
removed.
that's
Yeah,
Tammy, you removed them.
I did. And
yeah.
I just think it was like a crossover. It happened like
It
really.
might have been the timing of when we ran the list.
Yeah.
Because I know
Can
what
I
you're
ask a
talking about.
question? Can I ask a question? Who manages that member roster? Who's responsible in the club, in like for our club, say? Is it the president, vice president, secretary?
Only
I do
the
it.
president and treasurer have access, correct?
President.
correct.
So one of
Thank
those
you.
two.
Yeah, on
And
the
they-
SIA website, you have 3 people that have access: president, treasurer, and club administrator.
Okay.
So,
And
like,
your
it-
president or treasurer can assign the club administrator.
yes. So I'll be honest with you, in the case of my club, I'm the permanent club administrator, so that I can go in and clean it up. And so, but it took us a while to get that figured out, how to do that. But the treasurer really does all the transactions online. Okay. So showing that.
Oh, Carla has her hand up.
Okay. All right.
Carla has her hand up.
Actually, that's a good point, because so if I assign a club administrator on SIA's website, because I do all of the roster too, I'm the treasurer for San Francisco until the end of this club year. And then, but if I assign an administrator, they have the same access,
Yes.
and they will automatically get that invite to the SIA Salesforce system, or do I have to work with SIA on that?
All I can tell you is that I've been club administrator since it started.
Okay.
So I don't remember how it all got in. It's the same as when anybody got first access.
Okay.
I was the one who set up our club administrator, because we have an assistant treasurer who usually handles dues. That's a whole nother story. But I was the one who actually went in and assigned her on the system. And then they send out the invite and all that other stuff, but you could do it online.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Beth? You're muted.
So yeah, so we heard that Form 200s are going away. So make sure that you put whoever is the administrator, whether that's administrator, president, treasurer, that you are assigning the roles of the people on your list. So live your dream chair, dream it, be it chair, because at the region level, now we won't have another way of knowing who are those positions in your clubs. So those SIA headquarter lists become really essential.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you
And
might have to, Linda and I were actually talking about this the other day. You might have to unassign roles from the past too, right? So if if your live your dream chair changed, it'll show up for however many people in that role over the years, unless you remove them from that role.
Yes.
So it's confusing for us if we're trying to run a list and like, let's give us all the club presidents or all the club treasurers. We're getting for some clubs like 3 or 4 people. So
yeah. And it only provides, it doesn't give phone numbers to us. It only gives email.
Yeah.
So that's another piece that, you know, sometimes it's good to have the phone numbers too, but we can't access that on the region level.
Linda.
So if there's somebody that's on our list, like you and I talked about the other day, is it as simple as just going in and removing that name off the list? There isn't a form or anything?
You just go in and it sounds horrible. You terminate their membership.
Okay.
Could we have a better word?
So far as taking names off, Susie and I, as past presidents, have removed ourselves multiple times, and we are still coming up on there. So any idea how we make it permanent? Do I have to terminate myself, or
that might come down to, because they have different statuses in Salesforce. And one of them is active and then one is current, and I never remember which
And are
one.
all those going to stay on there, current, active, past, whatever the categories are?
Well, so if you go to like leadership, so like I'm going to go to club treasurer because I've got mine up right now. And ooh, yeah,
Why don't
interesting.
we, Janice
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah.
and Sandy as well.
Yeah.
When we
Okay,
do the
sorry.
workshop at conference, let's do some homework and have answers to this because
Yeah.
I'd like to know too.
Yeah, and I'll
why
be
don't
honest, sometimes
we-
it's
Yeah, we'll take this away. We'll incorporate it into the Friday afternoon conference workshop where we can give an update on this.
Great, thank
I do
you.
know I do know that, so you have your active officers, they show that's the status current, and then they have former. And so then there's an end date. So like our last treasurer shows that she's a former club treasurer and her date ended on 6/30/24.
Perfect. So
you almost
did it
get more
right.
information when you go on as your club than you want. You know, it's sometimes crazy, but anyway. And I will also tell you that Charlotte and I have tried working with SIA on some other issues with membership, and sometimes the information they come back to us with honestly doesn't make any sense. So we're doing the best we can, trying to figure them out. Okay. All right. So you've paid your dues in July. You have filed your Form 200 online to identify all the officers. And now you have a new member that joins. Okay, I have, oh, I'm sorry, looking all over here and all this stuff. So now you have another form that is the one that is on the page. And this is your new member form. Okay, and this one is on the website. And I remember now that we said not to put the dues on because it's so confusing. This form has worked out well. We've tried it this year because if you notice over here, it says names of new members. So all you have to do is tell us, you know, what new members are you paying for? And you just put their name down there. And then, you know, I don't know who's going to be treasurer next year, but what I've started doing is in the memo line, when you pay these dues, I write their name in the memo line. So if you come back to me and say, you know, did we pay dues for this person? I can look on the memos. I don't know the new member names from July, but those usually aren't the ones that are confusing. It's the ones that join later. Sure. And so that part is different. And like I said, I think that's worked out well. And so that's all you have to do this. So if we now have that you can pay online, here's what's nice. This form will be a writable PDF. You can fill it out online. You can email it to the treasurer and then pay your dues online. So you don't even have to mail anything. But I will caution you, I am totally amazed at the number of math errors that occur on this form. So please be careful because you might be paying the wrong amount. And whereas now it's easy for me just to send you an email and say, Charlie, you overpaid by $10. I'll hold this check and just send me a new check. You know, if you pay on the line, sometimes that's not quite as easy to figure out.
You might be able to foolproof that. We'll see.
Okay. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then but if you see here, though, it's for if your members join between July 1 and December 31, they pay full price. If they join after January 1, the dues are cut in half, but not the furthering the dream fee. Okay. So for some reason that gets people confused. And then again, just fill out the form. There's a place for you to put, you know, your information and then the new members, and that's it. So that one seems to be pretty easy, except people can't always find it. And then they just stop. They send me different forms. So any questions there on when you have new people coming in? And again, just like SIA, when you have a new person, you will go to the SIA website. You will log in and you will say, we have a new member. And you fill out the form right there online, pay your dues by credit card, and then that person is now a member. So any questions on new members coming in? No? Okay. So some other issues that came up that I learned by being treasurer is I found it very interesting to find out that some of the clubs, you pay your founders' pennies and your furthering the dream fees out of your service funds. And I thought that was very interesting because they are service funds. So after I learned, I never thought of it. So after I learned it being treasurer, I went back to my club and said, this is what we should be doing. So now in our service budget, we budget for our furthering the dream penny fees and our founders' pennies. And then we just pay them straight out of our service fund. And then that actually means we get to keep more of our dues. I mean, it's, you know, it's $10, but it's $10 more that for our club activities. So I would recommend that you do that. So I think it's a good way to take care of that. And if you just budget in your service fund, you've got it covered, and then you just pay them. And now, those of you that have two separate accounts, when you're paying online, I don't know how you're going to do that, but you'll have to work that out. Yeah, so you'll work it out, and you'll be fine with that. Okay. So, any questions on paying dues? Okay. Now, I almost want to tell Judy to stop the recording because, you know, you reach the issue of where, what if you have a new member that wants to join next month? In my case, in my club, anyone joining after January 1, they have to pay $200. That's the new member for half of the year. But then they're going to pay it in April, and I'm going to turn around on July 1 and ask them for $200 again, because that's our yearly dues. So a lot of times what we do is we go ahead and collect their dues, but tell them it's going to be effective July 1. But we go ahead and we go through the induction and we get them as a member of our club. We just don't turn it in until July 1. And then that way they don't have to pay $200 just 2 months apart. So Judy, I don't know if you should have heard that, if that's legal, but I think it's what most of us do. So.
It's not illegal, but you know, your club has a discretion to not charge dues for someone joining mid-year. I mean, yes, there are prorated dues for both SIA and a region that are cut in half. You could choose to not also charge club dues until it's a full year.
Yeah.
So you could reduce the impact. I absolutely understand. It's always difficult, like from this point on, even it's like, just wait till July. But of course we want members sooner rather than later. So I think there are ways to minimize that impact. Certainly the closer you get to that, the more it makes sense. But
you're still putting out about $100 to SIA.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want them to be official members, but anyway.
And you don't have to pay founders pennies, and you know, we want that, but like,
Judy,
especially,
don't say that. No,
well, I'm just saying that for someone mid-year, like you would obviously want to pay it at the beginning of every year.
Okay. All right. So I see a question up here from Tammy that in my club, we have a general fund and we have a service fund. And they are two separate monies, and they have two separate budgets. So dues come into our general account. Service is any money we raise in the community. And then that's used for service projects. Honestly, I just assumed most clubs had that, two separate funds.
We might, and I just don't know it. Thank
you.
Okay,
I'll be honest with you. 40 years ago, when I first joined, you had to have two separate accounts, two separate checking accounts. You couldn't mix the funds. And then eventually they got smart and said, you can mix the funds, you just need to track them separately.
Yeah, I think most clubs have.
Yeah, our region does that. We have our operating fund and we have our service fund. So, all right.
We have separate, Tammy.
Okay.
There you go, Tammy.
Thank you. See, I knew she would know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else there?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you don't have to not you can commingle funds now, but that's where you can use classes in QuickBooks to keep track of what service and
You have to you don't have to physically segregate them, but you have to track
Yes.
them separately.
Yes.
track
Yeah.
them. Yes,
And
and that's where the classes come in
Yeah.
QuickBooks.
See, and
Or
my
in
club,
a
we're
ledger
so
or-
small, we just do our books on Excel. We don't do them
Yeah.
in QuickBooks. So we're little baby club. So, and it works for us. So I just have, a service column and a general column and a delegate column, and we just keep track of those funds, but they're all in one checking account. Okay. All right. You see the note there from Charlie? All right. Any other questions just on dues payments in general?
I just want to clarify, I was not advocating not paying them.
Oh,
Yeah. I just was thrilled I finally got a Founders Pennies report.
Yeah, that's good.
wait, don't tell them not to pay their
Later.
founders.
I'm not saying no, pay them.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay. All right. So the next thing I thought I would just go through with you is that page that just has websites on it. Okay. So let me find that.
We had a couple people join late, so I'm just going to post them again.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to, and I'm sorry, I don't know if it bothers you that I keep going back and forth between sharing and not sharing, but I like to see your faces.
Yes.
And so that's why I want to stop sharing and have you look at stuff, and then we can come back. All right. So
No, I found that's better for the people who are attending after the fact, watching the video.
because believe me, when I've watched the videos and all I'm seeing is screen and people talking behind it, it's hard to stay awake. All right. So here is the second page I sent you just on information website. So it talks there about the dues forms, invoice versus that 5008. They used to have all these numbers for them. But the SIA, everything is done online. Okay. I'm assuming you're comfortable with the Seroptimus.org website and our Sarah Pacific region. I just went there a little bit ago. Okay. If you ever need forms, if you just go here to this Seroptimus.org for clubs and members for club forms, if you go here, this is just forms. There they all are. So insurance forms, financial transaction form, if you're sending money into SIA other than dues. Here's the old 5008 form. Here's the dues worksheet form. Okay. So all kinds of things. There's the Form 200 that sounds like they're going to be doing away with. And then, but all these forms are in here for you. Okay. I don't want that one anymore. All right. And then the other one is the Attorney General's. This is for your raffles and registry. If you go here, and that's actually also on that checklist that I talked about. It talks about the raffles. It's a little hard to show you on here, but I just want to over here. This is your annual registration renewal. Here is the charities home. Here is your nonprofit raffles home. And basically, a lot of times when I forget, I just put in CA Gov raffles. And it gets me where I need to go, CA Gov, whatever I'm interested in finding. Okay. So that's all there. And then November 15th is the big day for almost all of us. That's when we have to file our tax forms. Okay. And excuse me.
And the registry of.
And the registry here, there's all these different forms in here.
Yeah.
Here's the charities information. That we did that one. Annual Treasures Report. This is the CTTR-1.
And
this is
you only need to use, if you file a 990 postcard, you need to use this form. If you do not file a 990 postcard, but file a 990 EZ or a full 990, attach your 990 report. You take out some of the pages. You'll have to look at the instructions, but you attach that instead of this form. And make sure you attach it, or otherwise they will reject it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it depends on how much money you go through. So it's different for all the clubs. And so that one's a little harder to explain in general to all the clubs because it just depends upon what you do. Okay, so like here, this is your charities renewal form. And honestly, I will tell you, this is all comes up November, but you can do it anytime after July 1.
Yeah.
You know, and I never thought about it until one year when I took over as treasurer. The person who was treasurer before me went ahead and filed all those before she gave me the books. And I thought, well, that was really nice. Okay. You know, here's the 990 in form. Usually if you do the postcard and all that stuff, my club is small enough, we don't have to do that. Okay. This is the little post. They used to mail it. I don't even know if they mail it anymore. So you see here where it says no paper forms. Okay. All right. And then there's the 199, whatever, all these different forms. The one I was having a hard time trying to track down for you was this one. It's SI, which doesn't stand for Sir Optimus International. It stands for Statement of Information. Okay, this is the one where every 2 years you file this form that tells people, this is our president, this is our secretary, this is our treasurer, this is the address we're using. And it's every 2 years. And it just depends upon when you initially filed. So this one is due different times for everybody. I think ours is due in June.
So this is for clubs who are incorporated. And I believe the goal is to get every club incorporated.
Yep.
Okay. So that kind of takes you through all the stuff that we have to do as treasurer. Does it just overwhelm you, or is it kind of follow along?
Raffles. So raffles are now December 31st is the end of the raffle year. It used to be a really weird date. But you have to file, if you had a raffle permit this year, you have to file your raffle permit report before you apply for your next raffle permit. Or I mean, you can put it in the same envelope, but you've got to complete the report. Even if you ended up not having a raffle, but you told them you were going to have a raffle and got a permit, you need to tell them you did not have any raffles.
So, and it's now switched over to a calendar year. So that's how they do it now. It used to be an odd August crazy year. And now it's a calendar year. And so you file your report, do your raffle, and then you file it in January. And I'll tell you, if you know you're only going to have a raffle in May, for example, in my club, we can file it anytime after May. That you don't have to file it for each individual raffle, but you need to file it when you're finished with all of your raffles for that calendar year. Okay. All right. Anything else? Does that help? Okay, I see a few nods, and some people are going like, I don't even know what to ask. I will tell you, and I can speak for the person who's probably going to be treasurer next year, call us, and I'll be honest with you, most of the questions I had, I was able to answer not because I was region treasurer, but because I'd been club treasurer so many times. That's what made the difference for me, because I knew a lot of this as being club treasurer. So
yeah, there's not quite as many. There are still some dates for the region filing our review and tax return stuff, but I think generally speaking, less than at the club level. So kind of a bigger job in some ways, not completely, but
anyway, all right. Mainly because the accountant takes care of it all. So, okay. Any other questions? Anything we could help you with? So,
any volunteers to test a mock online dues registration for the regions?
Yeah, everybody's hand's going to go up. Just contact a couple of clubs and say, do it.
Charlie, did I see your hand, Brandy?
Go Brandy.
I know Carla will. I know you're
Are you
not
you
going to
gonna
be treasurer forever,
Yes.
but
I'm willing to test it if you
Okay.
need someone to.
okay.
Yeah.
are you
When
going
do
to
you want me to do that?
Actually,
I don't know.
Judy, I was thinking it might be nice to have someone tested who knows what they're doing and someone tested who does not know what they're doing.
Any volunteers who don't know what they're doing?
Depends on what platform you're using.
Yeah.
Amber,
Oh.
you have your hand up.
Just so we can volunteer to try it out too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. You've got 29 clubs. You're going to have 29 volunteers. So,
Yeah. Okay.
anyway.
Well, I don't want to overwhelm anybody, so
Okay.
I'll
right.
I'll pick a few of you.
Okay. So if there's no more questions, I can tell you it's been a pleasure being your treasurer for the last 3.5+ years. So it's been fun. And I'm going to miss being on the board. So, but my job is done.
Not yet.
About what, 3 more months? April, May, June, so 3 more months, and then I'm out of here. So,
And you see, Julie just had a stroke, so we better check on her.
actually, I
She's like
can't do it
shaking her
again.
head no.
I think there's a term limit in there. So, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and this is from a non-accountant telling you this. So I know.
I told you could do it.
I know, but Charlie and Judy had to fill in all the accounting terminology. So they'd say, "Well, do
But
this."
you
I
learned
don't know what that is.
That's what we're here for.
But you can throw numbers at me. I can process numbers. So anyway, all right. So thank you. Those of you that are going to be treasurer, congratulations. Those of you that are scared to be treasurer, get over it. Which is why I'm not district director, because I would say, just get over it and just do it. You can do it.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
Going into my
I'm
third
happy to
year as
help, but you're
treasurer
going to have a
after
new
being
treasurer. So anyway, and it's just, and I do like what our region does. It's whatever I go off, you still contact the treasurer the same way. SP treasurer. So that's really nice how we do that. So, Charlotte, another question?
I just want to affirm you and thank you from the bottom of my heart because, you know how much I love you. You've been an amazing treasurer for me. I hit Janice up all the time for reports and different things, and we've worked through some stuff this year. And Janice has this special gift of not making anybody feel inadequate or like they don't know what they're talking about. You have been an amazing treasurer. I just can't tell you. I mean, you're available to me. You don't mind me texting you. I mean, you're just a gift. And I mean, I understand you don't have a full-time job right now. You're retired, whatever. It's a little easier. I would respect, of course, anyone like someone else who might have a full-time job. I wouldn't be bugging you and texting you during the day, but your availability means a lot to me. Your patience, your willingness to look at my questions and work with me on them. And, we've uncovered some things, right? And so anyway, I'm going to miss you. So
thank you. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. So anyway, okay.
Well, thank you, Janice.
Anything else we can help you with?
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I didn't even need this. Okay, Judy, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Janice. Thank you, Charlie, for the backup and support.
And Judy, you should make a plug for next Monday.
Yes.
Oh, yes, for anyone here. I can't keep all my days straight. Next Monday for presidents and membership chairs. We have a mixer that Charlotte has organized. Should be fun. So hope to see you there. And then that's on the 13th.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
The 6th is
we have another
Leadership Academy.
Thank you.
Our last leadership. Yeah.
Well, you're just looking 2 weeks into the future.
Don't give me a heart attack.
So
next week's the 13th.
April 6th, final leadership workshop on the like inclusive track. I think we're still going to try to fit in one more to finish out the code of conduct. So we finally kind of got the guidelines from headquarters on how to implement and enforce. So we had wanted to fit that in this year. We're kind of waiting, didn't want to give conflicting guidance, but we have that now. So look for that date as well. I'm going to try to fit it in before conference.
So who's going to conference? Everybody here?
Everybody.
Woo. Have you got your gold bling?
Yes.